You know, studies say that Tuesdays are the most productive day of the week. But considering the Combine just went Wednesday through Monday, we might be hard-pressed this week to prove that.
Yeah, I'm sure you had quite the productive week in Indy, so.
It was a lot. Yeah, it was a lot, having not been there since I was a player and just seeing it from that side, to see it from a coach's perspective. I mean, it's a massive undertaking, and the media side of it has just gotten enormous. But it was a lot of fun. I think it's great for the NFL, and to have the first pick is even a little bit more intense. But I was really impressed with the group we sent. I mean, over 60 people, whether it be our trainers and doctors, scouting department, coaches, film crews. They were all phenomenal and made it a great week.
Media staff too, right?
Yeah,
Throw us in
yeah.
there. For you, what was just most surprising for you in the week at the Combine? That, I mean, you talked about obviously being there as a player, but we were kind of talking before the show started. It's a spectacle of event now. What changes have you seen?
I
since
think
then?
more so that just the media spectacle that it's become. In 2003, it was just, you just went and did your deal, and they didn't really care about it. They're waiting for the draft, and now everybody's there, and there's all sorts of theories and thoughts and ideas being tossed around. So the media was much more heavily involved than I anticipated.
Yeah. So as we get rolling here on the Kingsbury Chronicle podcast, Paul Calvisi, Lisa Matthews, the head coach of the Arizona Cardinals, Kliff Kingsbury. I was watching not only the press conference, but then all the media demands. Did it qualify as a semi-welcome to the NFL moment? Just all the multiple media requests that you received over those 5 days?
Yeah, I think, it's part of the deal. You knew going in they'd all be there, and so it was a good time to knock a bunch of them out. And Mark had a great lineup for Steve and I to handle, and we were able to fit it into one day, really, which made it nice.
And when every word seemingly moves the market, because you have the number one pick,
Right.
That's an added element, a degree of difficulty, I would think, in some parts, because look at what's being reported outright.
Right.
I mean, you have things 180 degrees apart going in every direction.
No doubt. And it makes it fun having the first pick, because nobody knows if you're trying to throw smoke screens or telling the truth
Right.
or what. I mean, there's 1,000 different ways you can go with this, and we're still 50 days away. So you can definitely have fun with it.
Is it overwhelming at all, just when you take a step back and you can't go anywhere without seeing it on TV or hearing it on the radio? Is it ever overwhelming for you knowing so much rides on one pick?
No, I don't think so. And it's my first go-around doing any of this, and so
Right.
this is all I've seen. So, I mean, it seems like it comes with the territory at this point.
You know what I saw that was a takeaway was one of the TV networks flashed your measurables when you were a player, and your Wonderlic score, 31. I mean, look at the big brain on Kliff. I mean, that was solid. And you graduated third
Decent.
in your graduating class of 450, right?
I did.
And I know you're not in the NFL unless you're a competitive person. Do you know who beat you? Do you know the two students in high school?
he knows.
Who
I
actually
don't
pitched
remember
you?
their names, but I have their faces. Yeah. Yeah, they were really, really smart. They worked hard at it, so hats off to them.
Oh, that's good. What else did you find worthwhile? I mean, are the quarterback drills when guys are throwing on air, is that worthwhile to you?
It is just really to watch mannerisms, watch body language. Obviously the throwing, they wouldn't be there if they weren't great throwers and great athletes and great players. But you can see a lot of kind of behind the scenes, how they interact with other people and how they carry themselves. And I felt like the formal interviews were incredible, how much you can gather in those 15 minutes. We have Steve in there, and we have other scouts and coaches, and then to have Mr. Bidwell is huge and very impactful in that setting. But you can gain a lot of information in those 15 minutes about a young man and who they really are.
So having a quarterback background, does it change for you when a player decides to not participate in those drills? Obviously this being your first time evaluating from this stance, but does that change anything for you? Is that a question you ask? Why?
It
Why
doesn't.
not?
I think it's just case by case. I think some people, when you've played at a certain level, can basically dictate, hey, I want you to come see me, which I get that, and they have agents and all sorts of things go into it. And so I understand that each player handles things differently.
When you're in that meeting room, the interviews, do you have a go-to question? Bill Davis said
Bill.
his question was, who do you call?
Yeah.
Really good or really bad news? Who's the
Who's
first
the
person
first
you
person?
call? Is there a question you had for each and every one of those guys?
Not really. I did a lot of listening, and we kind of put them through different questions, whether it's offense, defense, and Steve kind of starts the deal off. But I did more listening than asking questions.
So fresh off the Combine, did you come back to Arizona knowing who you'd pick number one overall?
No. No, it's 50 days out, so I don't think any of us have a clue at this point. But it's fun to hear all the how I've said I do and that it's a done deal and all of those things. So you just roll with it and enjoy this process.
All right, so confirm or deny, because here's the report. Adding fuel to the Kyler Murray fire, Kliff Kingsbury was telling people last night that it's, quote, a done deal the Cardinals will select the Sooners quarterback with the first pick of the draft.
Yeah, I mean, just rolling around Indy saying it's a done deal. So I mean, I would have to adamantly deny that. But that's what's reported, so it's got to be true.
How about when the measurables did come out on Kyler Murray? And it was literally breaking news. It's trending. It's scrolling across the bottom of the TV screen. Did it illustrate to you just how much attention, how much buzz he is generating as a prospect?
Yeah, I think, and just how overblown the whole process gets this time of year, kind of a slow news cycle, and for that to be any sort of huge topic at that point is pretty outrageous to me. But that's what it is. It's good for the game, and it's good that people are that interested in our sport.
Talking with Bill Davis last week, he talked a lot about having the connection now to college prospects and kind of knowing where their head's at this point of the game. Did you find that as an asset when you were sitting in the room with the GM and Michael Bidwell? Did you find yourself as an asset in that way?
I think so. I think, I was very familiar with, obviously, that age prospect and the way they think and what they're going through and what they're coming into. And then a lot of them I was fortunate enough to coach against. And so you got to see them in person and get to know them from that side of things.
Get back to Kyler Murray real quick. The media makes such a big deal out of his size, as you mentioned. Why is it not that big a deal to you, the fact that he's not that big?
You just turn on the tape. I think you can watch a guy in our division who's been pretty successful at playing the position. And so if you turn on the tape and you watch what the guy's doing, regardless of size, and he's that effective, then I've never thought that should come into play.
And that can translate, you feel, at this level, or is it pieces of his game that can
translate? Every case is different. It's all about what type of player, how quickly can he process things. So to say any of those guys are going to translate from college to NFL, you can't say that yet. But I don't see that as being a limiting factor at this point with the way the game's going, and you can see what Russell's done and the success he's had.
Mike Mayock used the word fascinating, and then he went on to say, I think we're all trying to figure out, all 32 teams in the league are trying to figure out the entire quarterback position. Do you sense that? Do you think maybe the definition of an NFL quarterback is changing before our eyes?
I think, beauty is in the eye of the beholder at this position. You can build it around the guy, or you can try to fit a guy into a system that maybe he's not great at. And I think more and more people are trying to build it around that player and play to his strengths. And I think that's the way the league's going.
All right, we have some great fan questions coming in. We're going to try to do some rapid fire with them. They've been sending in lots of questions week after week, so we're going to go to the first one, Johnny C. He wants to know most overrated drill at the Combine.
Now we're breaking down the drills themselves.
Yeah, that's a great question. Like maybe the L drill.
The L drill. Didn't you say you had a solid L drill?
Yeah, I was really good at it, but I don't know. They all serve some function, but if I had to pick one, maybe the L drill.
Cards fan 989 wants to know, what was your 40 time?
It was under 4.8, 4.76 maybe, 4.77, something like that.
Okay.
So not bad.
I
was the same year Anquan Bolden was. We had very close times, which I was really proud of for a long time.
Yeah.
Something to remember. Okay. Yeah. Turnovers, this comes from Justin XAZ. Turnovers and pick sixes were sometimes an issue for Josh Rosen last season. As a proven quarterback guru, how will you work with him to limit some of those mistakes?
Yeah, I think it's all a growing process, and he's a very sharp quarterback, very cerebral, and he's learned from those things and the speed of the game and the anticipation. And so those are things we'll continue to try and work on. But I think going through that last year and having that experience is really going to help him moving forward.
This one coming from Australia, Jono. He wants to know, what's your match day? And match day is game day. I figured out, translated in the Aussie.
Right. Well
What is your match day routine that you do?
Pretty laid back. Like to get a workout in early, and then just kind of locking in and start studying notes and game plans and making sure I have it down by the time we kick off.
All right, last one wants to know if you had a superpower, what would it be? See, we're trying to mix in some good questions here. So superpower.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Invisibility.
Yes. That's what flying.
Creep
Paul?
around. Flying's
Right.
good.
Especially when you're getting all the quarterback questions,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
You just vanish right in front of
Yeah.
the media's eyes, right?
Just be gone.
That would
That's
be
it.
good. Did you
Thank you
meet
for-
anyone at the
That's it.
combine? Any sort of VIP moments? Anyone you've been wanting to meet, you ran into, or any sort of memorable moments that way?
I'm trying to think. I'm sure I did. There were a bunch of familiar faces, that I hadn't seen in a long time through the NFL, and a lot of the scouts that came through Texas Tech and GM. So, but I can't think of one that just.
It's one of
jumped
those
out.
events where you're in Starbucks line. You're right
Yeah,
there by
they're
Jerry
everywhere.
Jones, and
Right.
you go out to eat. I assume you went to St. Elmo's.
I didn't make it over there, but we had some
We
really
didn't
good
teach you
meals.
before you.
I heard
we
it's
should've
really
schooled
good.
you.
Sean McVay joked that he ran into you and he said, "Well, when you run that 4x1, you can't motion the X,
yeah,
and right
that's what he was
here,
talking
right." So, do you guys have a chance to talk a little shop? And it's like, and how much of it is talking trash sometimes when you guys are going back and forth like that?
Yeah, he's been great, honestly. We know 2 times out of the year we'll be going at each other, but he's been very helpful in some thoughts and scheduling, logistics, and things of that nature, which has been great.
Because everyone's watching each other's film anyway, right?
Yeah, no doubt. You're always studying guys that you respect in the game and trying to, gain ideas and figure out how you can do things better. And so it's an open book. And I've noticed the camaraderie amongst the NFL coaches is really strong. I think everybody understands the high, stress positions that we're in, and they try to have each other's back as much as they can.
That was his welcome to the NFL, right?
That's it.
So you're a first-year head coach. You have the #1 pick in the draft. The Cardinals are tracking for the 2019 season. I'm a Cardinals fan. Why is this season going to be exciting at State Farm Stadium?
Yeah, I think you're going to see an attacking style of football on both sides of the football. We brought in Vance, down in your face, playing man, pressuring, getting after the quarterback. And then offensively, with some of the dynamic pieces we have, finding ways to get them the ball in space, being innovative, and just for 60 minutes attacking in all 3 phases.
How much are you looking forward to taking the field for the first time in front of the Red Sea?
I'm excited just to meet the team at this point, But yeah, the Red Sea is phenomenal. I mean, to follow that organization over the years and see when that place is rocking and them causing false starts and the intimidating environment it creates. I can't wait. The passion this community has for this organization is at the top, and I can't wait to be a part of it.
So the fact that this part of the country thinks you're taking Nick Bosa, and this part thinks you're taking Kyler Murray, and this part thinks you're trading Josh Rosen, is that mission accomplished coming away from
That's
the combine?
what we're looking for. We want to keep them guessing,
Right.
and I think that makes the intrigue all that much more fun when it does come around.
Your name keeps popping up on TV
Yeah,
as we speak.
that's right.
So
Yeah, it's every time we flip it on, there's a different headline with a different draft or trade scenario. So
I'm staying busy
Yeah.
somehow.
Yeah.
I don't know what's being said on
Right.
my behalf,
Right.
but somebody's out there talking.
do you wake up at 4 a.m. because you're getting to the office, or does your mind start grinding? Do you think of all these scenarios?
Yeah, I mean, a little of both, probably. I like to get up and focus on the football aspect of things early before staff meeting, but at the same time, your mind's always racing, particularly this time of year and with the new staff and having that first pick.
it's an exciting time. What is it, next Wednesday?
Yep.
Free
Agency, right?
begins, so-
March
That's
13th.
That's it.
Okay.
Yeah, Steve's been doing a tremendous job of with the entire scouting department working through that, and we're excited to see what pieces we can add.
Okay. Coach, thanks for the time, as always.
Thank y'all for having me.
There we go.
Appreciate
We're
it.
making Tuesday the most productive day of the week right here. Kingsbury Chronicle podcast. We'll see you next week.